Hey guys, so I've been working with Courtney on her Olympic weightlifting, and she has a common problem that comes up a lot with weightlifting, which is the hip shoot or the stripper booty, where the hips rise very quickly out of the starting position. So what we're going to try and do is we'll first show what the problem is, then we'll get into the specific whys and what's going on, what's happening, what can cause this problem, and we'll finish by talking about solutions to the problem. So Courtney, go ahead and show us a few cleans where you have those hips moving too early. Okay, go again. And we know that in our first pull, we're lifting the bar from above the floor to just above the knee. We want to be bringing the hips and the shoulders up together so that the knees are doing most of the straightening, and we're maintaining the right kind of tension through the system so that she puts the bar into the most optimal position. It makes it easier to get the bar eventually into the power position so she can exert the most force possible on the bar. So when she's losing that position right off the bat, we're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And I'm going to propose the problem really stems from a loss of tension in the hamstrings. The hamstrings, now we turn this way, play court. It's important to understand some of the physiology of the hamstrings. The hamstrings are a two-joint muscle group. They cross both the hip joint and the knee joint. So the action of the hamstrings, depending on the position of the body, if Courtney were to flex forward just a little bit this way, the hamstrings can help to straighten out the hip, to extend the hip, because they cross the hip, and by the pull of the hamstrings around the hip joints, they can help to extend it that way. The hamstrings, if the knees are bent a little bit, they can also help, they can flex the knee further or help to maintain that flexed knee position. So the hamstrings either extend the hip or they flex the knee. So when Courtney is here setting up at the bar for her clean, if you come around to the side here, this is a really important point to understand. Go ahead and go to your starting position and just kind of hang out there, Court. So check it out. Her back is stabilizing the pelvis here. The muscles will hold her hips in place. This is now a locked set of muscles and joints. And she does a good job of maintaining the tension here in her low back. The hamstrings then, part of their job is to maintain the knee flexion. This is a closed chain system. And the hamstrings must keep pulling to maintain some knee flexion as she's lifting the bar off of the floor. Show us how it looks when it's done well, Courtney. A little better there. Go ahead and reset down to the floor. Now show us again how it's been looking with the hip shoot. You see how her knees quickly extend right off the floor? What that's telling us is at that starting position with the knees flexed, her hamstrings are insufficiently capable of maintaining that knee flexed position, counteracted by her quads. There are sometimes signs that you can see in an athlete's physique that will point to a possibility of quadriceps dominance. If you look at Courtney's thigh, anterior versus posterior, if you come around this way a little bit with the camera, you can see she has really great quadriceps definition through here. Quads are developed. She's got good, strong quads. But if you come around to the side here, the really ideal physique for lifting, you got the glute, but then the hamstrings then retransition out, and you have some hamstring development here. Her legs are pretty straight through here, which indicates that she doesn't have quite the same hamstring development that she does in the quadriceps. And for that reason, you might suspect right off the bat that she's kind of quad dominant. So let's go slow motion. Go back to your starting position, Courtney. Check it out. I'm going to move your shoulders away a little bit. Great. This is an excellent starting position for a clean. Now we're going to go super slow-mo, Courtney, with the hip shoot. Super slow-mo. As she's going into the lift, Immediate loss of hamstring tension. She's firing her quads. The quads are the extensors of the knee. So the knee straightens out immediately because these muscles here are stronger and more dominant on her. These muscles can't hold their own against these muscles. So immediately when the load is heavy, her hips come up and the knees extend because these muscles are overpowering these muscles. Does that make sense? So come on up, court. So then the solution then is to give the hamstrings the power and the capacity to better hold position against the very strong quadricep muscles at that starting position. What we're going to do is, there's a lot of different solutions to the problem, many different ways that we can address this, but there are some ways that are better than others. I would propose the first drill that I would do would be slow motion, clean or snatch deadlifts, lifting from the floor and really emphasizing the correct positioning right off the bat to get a feel. Direct carryover, a clean pull or a snatch pull, lifting and trying to keep the hips and shoulders rising together. Work as light as you need to. Go ahead, court. Pull to just above the knee. It's okay, just a deadlift. So pull just above the knee, freeze, bring it back down. Have the bar in closer. Good. Now go super slow-mo. Just pull the bar until it's just above your kneecap. Freeze there. Want the knees to be back to touch more. Great. And the bar at your knee. Great. Shoulders are in front of the bar. Knees are behind the bar. Now, super slow-mo. Reverse back down. Let your knees travel this way. Great. Now, back up. Stack position once again. Good. She's doing a much better job maintaining some tension in the hamstrings against the quads here. Slow-mo back down to the start. Thanks, Corey. You can rest. You can do the same drill with a snatch too, but you're keeping the position that you need and drilling in, holding that position. You work as light as you need to. Now, the idea is to strengthen the hamstrings in a knee flexed position. We can do that too, and this would be another really go-to drill for fixing this problem. Reverse hamstring curls with a partner. Come on this way, core. Pads here for knee padding. I'm going to have you come down to some knees, up on the toes there. Now she's got her knees flexed, and she's also dorsiflexed in the feet. If you can, tuck your toes under a little bit more. Great there. Now this more or less simulates the knee angle and the ankle angle of the start of the clean and the snatch. And really, this could be a problem we see in the deadlift too if the hips shoot up early. Again, loss of tension in the hamstrings. So this simulates the angle of the start of the clean or the snatch. So her hamstrings are in a relatively analogous position to where they would be on a clean or a snatch. The hips are extended. But here's why that might be advantageous. We've put the hamstrings into a shortened position. The hips are extended here, she's straight, the knees are flexed. Now the hamstrings are put on maximal slack. What we're going to now ask her to do is use her hamstrings to do a negative as she lowers herself to the floor. I'm going to support her at the ankles to help her lock down and make sure we have a closed chain environment here like we had before. Then, Courtney, what you're going to try and do is stay straight from your knees to your head. Your hands will be right here. And you're going to lower your straight torso to the floor as far as you can get. Now, at some point, the hamstrings are going to lose the ability to hold position. And at that point, you're just going to drop and catch yourself in a kind of like a push-up, right? At that point, just kind of push yourself back up to the starting position. And we'll go again, a smooth, slow, negative. A couple different ways we can do this. We'll show this way first. Just a negative. I'll support. Okay, go ahead. Control it down, core. Control it down as far as you can go. Push yourself back up. Great. Now, once again, go. Control the negative. Boom. Come on back up. This eccentric lowering, the negative, really taxes the hamstrings. Court, on your end, what do you think? Can you feel the hamstrings having to work to keep you up?
Yes.
It's a dramatic feeling. This will make you very sore the first time you do this. Again, keep working. Make the hamstrings fight for it. Fight for it, fight for it, fight for it. Come on back up. Now, once she's done about 8 of these, that's probably going to be sufficient. I recommend 3 rounds of 8 reps with however much rest is needed between sets. Now, this is just one way you can do this drill to build the hamstring capacity and strength to counteract the quadriceps. Another way you can do this drill is for her to do an eccentric-concentric combination. She's going to lower herself as far as she can go, keeping that straight body, and then reverse back up, not going to the floor. Now, some folks have the ability to go almost entirely extended to the knees and reverse back up, but until you're truly spectacular in your hamstring power and strength, that's not going to be in the wheelhouse yet. So Court, go by feel. I'll anchor you again as before. Lower yourself as far as you can go, and then reverse it back up. How far she can go on this concentric-eccentric drill is going to directly speak to her hamstring strength. The farther she can go, the better her hamstring power.
I'm not touching my foot?
Nope. Just go as far as you can, then reverse it back up. Come on back up. Hey, all right, good save there. Go again. Come on back up. 2. Go again. 3. Did that get tougher fast? Mm-hmm. 4. Really fight to keep the hips extended as you go. Keep that short position of the hamstrings at the hip, etc. So this is another way she could do the reverse hamstring curl in order to develop the hamstring strength that she needs. If you happen to have one of the inverse hamstring curl machines from Brady Mattingly, that would really be ideal, but only a few people have access to it. You probably work out at Westside Barbell if you have it. So in the absence of such a piece of equipment, having a partner to help you with this drill is a really great way to develop the tension you need in the hamstrings to fix clean, snatch, and deadlift loss of position in the first pull. You can come on back up, Court. Other ideas that can also help too are bent knee good mornings. Court, go ahead and put the bar on your back in the back squat. Cool. Now, for the purposes of improving the snatch, clean, and deadlift, we'll have her maintain a hip width stance for this one. So we're not treating it as a squat accessory drill, rather as a first pull accessory drill. And our feet start hip width in this. So unlike many people's bent knee good morning, she will keep her feet hip width apart to start. Then she put a little bit of flexion in the knee, and then keep that flexion in the knee, Court. Hinge forward as far as you can go with the back straight, and then think about using the hamstrings to pull you back up to standing. Knees will flex as you go, and then use the hamstrings to pull you back up to straight. Go ahead and try it out a few times. Good, and then straight back up. Solid. Go again. Put the hamstring on a stretch. Make the hamstrings lift you back up. We're going to maintain some knee flexion through most of the move. Maintaining that knee flexion makes this movement more analogous to our starting position, what we're trying to fix. One more, Court. And come on back up. This is Courtney's first time doing a lot of these moves, by the way. She's kind of learning with you guys as we go along. But she's doing a pretty good job of following the cues and learning it. Courtney's a good athlete. She'll learn these drills and become excellent at them really quickly. And I think that by practicing these things, she's going to get really good at the clean and the snatch pretty fast. If there was one more drill that might be helpful, you can put the bar down, Court. Thank you. If there was one more drill that could probably help with the hamstring power, I think that reverse hypers, if you have a reverse hyper machine, would be a great choice. Again, the reverse hyper machine can be hard to come by, and some of the positions and the levers of the joints are a little different in that the hips tend to be the flex extension pattern, and the knees tend to stay more extended, but it'll still be a really good way of building the posterior chain power that you need to do a first pull really, really well. I guess that's it for today. Thanks, guys. Happy lifting.